Okay, guys. So, with the emergence of modern television being in the form that it has taken on today, the average life of the American has changed in many great ways, and some of us can't even realize because we simply live it every single day. So, television has worked into our lives as a very integral and important part. In fact, most Americans flip on their TV and watch it profusely without even realizing how much they indeed watch it. And with that, ultimately how much of that they absorb into their behaviors and into their actions in life. So, reality television was created in the 1940s, and since then, in its earlier times throughout the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way up into the 80s and 90s, it reflected what they saw to be the modern family, which is what gave it the aspect that made it a reality television show. But in modern times, it has been very clear that they have sort of evolved to glorify the aspects of life that we find interesting. And anymore, they surround the aspects of sex, violence, drugs, and illegal actions. And we all buy into it and watch it just because we find it interesting. So, reality television has been a common practice since the 1940s, but yet, in comparison between then and now, the main difference that defines the two of them are the contents in which they show on screen. And it has been stated that the idea of reality television will always revolve around the actions and news of whatever's happening in the modern day. So, what was common in modern back in the 1940s compared to what is common in modern today are vastly different, with the result being that the common practices today are simply dangerous for people to adopt, with the popularity of drugs and illegal actions emerging so frequently. Also, an issue arises with the use of the term reality in reference to television, and people are essentially forgetting that reality television is based upon a script with a artificially generated setting, and everything is controlled by directors and cameras. But yet, ultimately, they are wanting to believe that everything they are watching is real. And with all the negative messages being conveyed in media today, they are essentially converting negative messages into messages of reality, and they are adopting it as such. And this is then causing people to lose sight of the line between good and bad. And this is especially prominent with celebrity figures as being advocates for negative actions. So ultimately, the message that they are absorbing from these reality television shows is that anything is okay to do and that nothing really has any consequence to it. So the people of the 1940s and the people of the modern day share one commonality in reference to their relations to reality television, and that is the fact that we absorb the contents we see and then convert those to our personal behaviors and actions. And we've done this since the earliest stages of our childhood, in which we developed our personalities and behaviors based upon the actions of our parents. And though as adults the process is slower, with the common practice of binge watching our favorite shows, this is then causing the process to accelerate once again. The result then being that children and adults alike are assimilating to the actions that they see on screen. And with depictions of drugs, gang violence, and sex being depicted on screen, the result is inherently negative. And so this same effect goes for both time periods, but yet the difference then once again arises due to the difference in content being showed on screen. And what was once the harmless hope of being a cowboy hero has now converted into the hopes that drugs will aid into one's rise to fame. Ultimately, as a result of the mass popularity of reality television in our modern world, we as people are perceiving negative actions as acts of reality, as well as losing our ability to determine right from wrong. And ultimately, we're absorbing the actions we see into actions we should then practice in our lives, which is essentially leaving us unable to live our lives entirely on our own accord, as a result of us not being able to differ our sense of reality from our sense of fiction. To two main factors. The first is, damn it, and dangerous. We are essentially becoming the very negative things that we swore never to be. Fuck! Popularity of fuck! To defer our sense of fucking can't remember the words.